After the tournament, Tien would take the group out for a meal with the prize money, since he felt he owed Goku some of it since the fight was so close. Of course, Krillin didn't eat anything, he didn't need to. He just had a pack of blood Bulma had brought for him, but he couldn't very well drink it in public. So when Goku realized he'd forgotten his Power Ball and the Dragon Ball, it was the perfect opportunity to sneak away and drink it where he wouldn't be seen. Tien and Chaozu still don't know what he is, of course. They'd seen him transform into a bat, but Oolong and Po could do that hardly proved he was a vampire. He didn't really know them too well, and in general he didn't want everyone to know what he was. When he arrived, he quickly found Goku's Dragon Ball as well as the Power Pole, but before he could leave, he was attacked by Tambourine. Unlike in the original, Tambourine doesn't kill Krillin. Well, he still tried to, but it wasn't so easy. Krillin's advanced hearing helped him avoid the attack from behind. Tambourine landed in front of Krillin before turning around.
The Dragon Ball. Hand it over if you know what's good for you.
No way, this is Goku's. Immediately, Tambourine would rush forward, attempting to kick Krillin, who evaded the attack before going to punch Tambourine. Tambourine would dodge the blow before elbowing Krillin in the back, knocking the ball out of his hand, which Tambourine promptly swiped. Give that back!
I'd like to see you make me, kid.
Tambourine would evade a few more strikes from Krillin, though one connected, catching him in the stomach, which actually hurt, enough for him to drop the Dragon Ball anyway. It rolled towards the door where it was picked up by Goku, who'd come to investigate since he had a bad feeling. Tambourine glared at Goku. According to the sign-up sheet, this kid had been in the finals this year, and that he'd beaten this kid he was currently fighting, so fighting both of them probably wasn't a good idea. He'd fire an energy blast towards the announcer as a distraction, which Krillin would run to block. This kicked up dust, which Tambourine would use to get close to Goku, kicking him in the stomach, taking the ball before flying away. Since Krillin is still alive, Goku doesn't immediately chase him, and they both get the details from Roshi about who that person was and about King Piccolo. Since Goku stuck around, he can finish his meal while he listens, so he isn't hungry. This also means Goku's first fight with Tambourine doesn't happen, so instead Tambourine brings the ball straight to Piccolo before being dispatched to eliminate anyone who'd participated in the tournament. While this was happening, King Piccolo would create another son, Symbol, who went to look for the Dragon Balls. Roshi would tell Goku, Tien, Krillin, and Chaozu his plan that they had to find a few of the Dragon Balls before Piccolo did. That way they can force him into a confrontation. They'd check the Dragon Radar. 4 of them were in one place, which probably meant King Piccolo had those. 2 more were just in the wilderness, and 1 was on the move, but slowly. Roshi takes Tien and Chaozu with him, and tells Goku and Krillin to go search for the one on the move. And this time, Goku has his Power Pole, since he didn't leave straight away. Since that one is moving, Goku and Krillin take the radar with them and take off. Goku on the Nimbus, and Krillin in the form of a bat. They'd track down Yajirobe by tracking the ball he had, and when they got there, he was engaged in a battle with Symbol, a fight he seemed to be winning.
Do you need any help?
Goku asked as he landed, Krillin transforming back into his human form landing next to him.
No, this guy's not so tough.
Yajirobe evaded a few more attacks from Symbol before slicing him in half. Since Goku didn't steal his fish, Yajirobe doesn't eat Symbol because he'd already eaten. After he turned around, they'd see a Dragon Ball around his neck.
While you've got that, guys like that will keep coming after you. The next one will probably be even stronger, so how about you hand it over to us and we can keep an eye on it?
Krillin would try to reason with him.
So you think you can do a better job protecting it than me?
Honestly, this thing seemed like more trouble than it was worth, but he still wasn't going to give it up for nothing.
Prove it then. If you can beat me, you can have it. That seem fair?
Krillin and Goku would play rock, paper, scissors to determine who would take Yajirobe on, which I'm going to decide with a coin flip. Heads for Krillin, tails for Goku, since he has a tail. And it's heads. So Krillin wins because paper beats rock. He's just as strong as Goku, or maybe slightly weaker, but the difference isn't huge. He was surprised to realize he was more or less dead even with Yajirobe. Why hadn't this guy entered the tournament? Yajirobe was equally surprised that this kid could keep up with him. He was used to being the strongest around. Krillin landed a punch on Yajirobe, knocking him into a tree, which caused the tree to collapse on top of him, but Yajirobe just got up, seemingly pretty uninjured. Before the fight could continue, Tambourine showed up, ordered by King Piccolo to take revenge for Symbol, but against the 3 of them, Tambourine didn't like his chances. Maybe if he took out one of them, he could retreat and then come back for the others, if he could manage that. He'd step back to evade an attack from Krillin, only to be punched across the face by Goku. He'd grab Goku by the tail, slamming him into the ground, but he couldn't capitalize due to being interrupted by Krillin kicking him. He'd slam his fist into Krillin's face, but then was tripped by Goku. He landed on the ground in a heap, pretty sure he couldn't win. So he'd try to fly away, but Goku would fire a Kamehameha wave after him, killing Tambourine. King Piccolo felt the loss of his son on his ship. Tambourine and Symbol had both been slain. He'd have to deal with these 2 himself. When he arrived, his eyes would scan over Goku and Krillin, since Yajirobe had decided to make himself scarce.
I see. You two aren't ordinary humans, are you?
He would throw off his cloak, readying himself for combat.
You have a tail,
He'd notice Krillin's point it is.
and you have the qualities of a demon. I suppose it makes a bit more sense. No human could defeat my children.
He wouldn't move yet, waiting for them to advance.
You'll find I'm far more powerful.
Your children? So, I'm guessing you're King Piccolo? Goku would ask as he and Krillin assumed a fighting stance.
I'd ask how you know my name, but you won't live long enough for it to matter.
Goku and Krillin would rush towards him, initially taking him off guard. He found himself overwhelmed by the two boys. They were faster than he thought they'd be. Goku caught him in the face with a punch, as Krillin got him in the stomach with a kick. The king was knocked to the ground. He took a moment to readjust before standing up. So, he'd have to take these two seriously. When the two of them tried to attack again, he caught both of them before slamming their heads together. He'd throw Goku towards a cliff before holding up Krillin by his collar.
You're a vampire, aren't you? Much more than a lowly human. So I'll give you a choice. Join me as my pupil, and I will spare you and your friend.
I already have a mentor. Krillin bit down on his hand, which caused King Piccolo to immediately let go of him. He wasn't about to let someone drink his blood.
You brat!
Piccolo would knee Krillin in the face, but before he could capitalize, he'd have to block a kick from Goku. Krillin would hit him with an uppercut, and Goku would hit him over the head with the power pole, causing the elderly Namekian to stumble backwards, spitting out blood as well as a few teeth.
Safe to say I underestimated you boys.
These two were really starting to get on his nerves. He'd jump backwards before firing a ki blast at the ground. The explosion underneath them threw up rock and debris at the two boys, throwing them backwards, leaving them bruised and bleeding. Since Krillin was a vampire, Piccolo knew he'd probably recover from that, so he'd fire another energy wave towards him.
You should have joined me. You could have lived.
As far as he was concerned, the boys were dead, so he'd take the one-star ball and leave like in the original. Yajirobe would check on them, realizing they were very much alive. Piccolo would go confront Roshi, though he was a little worse for wear from fighting the two boys. Like in the original, Roshi paralyzes Tien so he won't try and fight King Piccolo and get himself killed.
You're looking a little beaten up, Piccolo. I had a spot of trouble getting this, but I dealt with it.
He'd show off the one-star ball.
From my students, no doubt. A kid with spiky hair and a bald kid. You trained those two? Well, you didn't train them well enough. They got themselves killed fighting me. All the more reason I have to defeat you and bring them back.
Piccolo is still worn out from his fight with those two, so his fight with Roshi is more even than it is in the original. King Piccolo is still definitely winning, but Roshi can keep up, and even manages to land a few hits. But he knows he can't win like this. Roshi saw his life flash before his eyes as King Piccolo aimed a chop at his neck. The king put enough force behind the attack to take the old man's head clean off, but he was frozen in place. His body felt heavy. It took all his energy just to move. I can't hold him for very long. It was Chaozu who had paralyzed Piccolo with telekinesis. Roshi would drop the rice cooker to the ground and attempt the evil containment wave, but as in the original, he misses, and it cost him his life.
Someone else will stop you.
Roshi just about managed before collapsing. The demon would turn to Chaozu, as if daring him to try something.
That someone isn't going to be you.
He'd approach slowly, and Chaozu would turn and run the other direction. Piccolo laughed to himself before taking the Dragon Balls and summoning Shenron, wishing to be young again before destroying the dragon. Tien and Chaozu regroup, and Chaozu apologizes for running, though Tien assures him he didn't do anything wrong.
If you'd stayed, you'd only have gotten yourself killed. We have to train and prepare so we can take them on another day.
The two of them would leave, with both of them trying to master the evil containment wave as well as sparring to get stronger. Krillin would recover before Goku did, since he heals faster as a vampire, so he and Yajirobe would take Goku to Korin's tower. Once Goku had recovered, Korin would tell him about the ultra-divine water and how he might get stronger if he drinks it. Or he might die, though he'd tell Krillin not to try it.
You're a vampire. Demonic beings and divine energy don't mix. It'll definitely kill you. But if you recover from injuries like that, you're probably gonna need some blood pretty soon.
Krillin hadn't really thought about that, but Korin was right. He'd probably have died back there if he wasn't a vampire, so to be brought back from that was pretty draining. The only place he thought he might be able to get blood would be Baba's place. So, as Goku and Yajirobe left to get the water, Krillin headed to Baba's place to ask for some blood, which Baba more or less forced Fang to hand over.
If this will help you defeat King Piccolo, then I'm happy to help. That monster will pay for killing my younger brother.
Krillin would fill Baba in on what Goku was trying to do and what their current plan was.
And if Goku loses to King Piccolo, what's your plan then?
If an older, weaker Piccolo had almost killed the both of them, then there was a very real chance that this younger, stronger King Piccolo may annihilate Goku, water or no water. I don't know. He wasn't strong enough to beat Piccolo, so what else could they do?
I'm sure you have faith in your friend, but you need to be prepared just in case he fails.
Baba offered to try and teach Krillin local magic, as well as having him spar with her own fighters. Now, none of them individually were much of a match for Krillin, so she'd have all 4 of them take him on at once. While this is happening, Goku drinks the Ultra Divine Water, while Tien and Chaozu try to take on King Piccolo. Unfortunately, even with help from Chaozu, Tien isn't doing very well against Drum. Thankfully, Goku arrived, and the fight between him and King Piccolo goes as it normally does. Goku is winning, but then King Piccolo takes Tien hostage, so Goku can't attack him. This time, however, Chaozu is still alive, so before King Piccolo has a chance to cripple Goku, he is forced to drop Tien when he was hit in the hand by the Dodon Ray. It hurt, but didn't do any major damage. He was distracted by Chaozu for a moment, and that was all Goku needed. He'd charge at King Piccolo, headbutting him, tearing a hole through his chest. Piccolo spits out his egg, and Goku heads to Baba's place to tell Krillin, who was relieved to hear things had worked out. Goku would then tell Krillin he was going to head to Korin's tower and ask if there was a way to restore the Dragon Balls. Goku goes to the lookout and trains with Kami, while Krillin focuses on training with Fortune Teller Baba, learning magic as well as how to fully utilize his vampiric abilities. And when Kami restored the moon, he felt more powerful than ever under the moonlight. And that seems like a good place to stop. This won the poll, so I guess it's Vampire Krillin for the rest of October. Let me know what you think in the comments, or just say hello. Maybe subscribe if you want to, but that's all from me. Take care.